April 21, 1521. A small island in the Philippines called Mactan became the stage for a dramatic encounter that would echo through world history. There, a legendary explorer under the Spanish crown, Ferdinand Magellan, met his end at the hands of local warriors led by Datu Lapulapu. This was more than a skirmish. It was a powerful act of defiance against foreign intrusion. This is the story of the Battle of Mactan. Background of Magellan's expedition. In 1519, the Spanish crown launched an ambitious expedition to discover a western route to the Spice Islands, also known as the Moluccas. The fleet was led by Ferdinand Magellan, a Portuguese navigator sailing under the Spanish flag. After crossing the Atlantic, navigating the treacherous Strait of Magellan at the southern tip of South America, and sailing for months across the Pacific Ocean, Magellan's fleet finally arrived on the shores of the Philippines, landing on Humabon Island on March 16, 1521. This marked the first recorded contact between Western explorers and the Philippine archipelago.
Early diplomacy, Rajah Humabon and Christianity. Magellan was warmly welcomed by local chieftains Rajah Kalambu and Rajah Siagu of Limasawa. These leaders then introduced him to Rajah Humabon, a powerful ruler of Cebu. Relations were quickly forged. Within days, Rajah Humabon and his queen were baptized into Christianity, taking the names Carlos and Juana in honor of the Spanish royal family. Magellan, who was deeply committed not just to exploration, but also to spreading Catholicism, seized the opportunity to convert more local leaders. With Humabon's backing, he asked other chieftains to swear allegiance to Spain and convert to Christianity. However, not everyone agreed. Datu Lapulapu's refusal. One of the most prominent dissenters was Datu Lapulapu, the chieftain of Mactan Island. Unlike other rulers, Lapu-Lapu perceived the Spanish presence as a threat to his people's sovereignty and traditions. He outright rejected Humabon's and Magellan's demands for submission. This act of defiance infuriated both the Spanish and their native allies. Humabon, seeking to assert dominance, requested that Magellan subdue Lapu-Lapu and bring him under control. Magellan, confident in the superiority of European weaponry and eager to demonstrate Spain's power, accepted the challenge. The Battle of Mactan, April 21, 1521. Before dawn on April 21, 1521, Magellan set sail for Mactan with about 60 Spanish soldiers and several native allies. However, because of the island's shallow coastal waters, the Spanish could not dock their ships directly on the shore. They were forced to wade over 1,000 meters across sharp coral reefs and mudflats to reach land, heavily burdened with armor and firearms. Waiting for them were 1,500 to 2,000 native warriors armed with iron-tipped bamboo spears, fire-hardened stakes, slingshots, fire-hardened poles, and flaming projectiles. The Mactan fighters launched a flanking assault from the front and both sides, effectively surrounding the Spanish invaders. Although Magellan attempted to intimidate the defenders by burning local houses, this only enraged the people of Mactan even more. Amid the chaos, Magellan was struck in the leg by a poisoned arrow. Immobilized in the surf, he was swarmed by native warriors and struck down with spears and swords. The Spanish forces, caught in unfamiliar terrain and under fierce attack, were overwhelmed. Magellan's death and its aftermath. Magellan's body was never recovered. Rajah Humabon offered gold and trade goods to Lapu-Lapu in exchange for the fallen captain's corpse, but the offer was rejected. To the people of Mactan, Magellan's death was a symbol of victory and resistance, not a transaction. The surviving Spanish soldiers retreated to Cebu. However, peace was short-lived. Days later, Rajah Humabon, once an ally, poisoned several Spaniards during a banquet, either as an act of political maneuvering or revenge. Retreat and the completion of the voyage. With morale shattered and manpower dwindling, the remnants of Magellan's crew decided to leave the Philippines. The expedition resumed under the leadership of Juan Sebastian Elcano. The fleet eventually reached the Spice Islands, Maluku, and completed the return journey to Spain in 1522. This achievement made Elcano the first navigator to circumnavigate the globe, completing the mission Magellan had started. Despite the global accomplishment, the stop in the Philippines, especially the defeat at Mactan, remained one of the bitterest setbacks in the journey. The legacy of the Battle of Mactan. Datu Lapulapu is today honored as the first national hero of the Philippines. The Battle of Mactan is not just remembered as a military clash, but as a proud symbol of Filipino resistance to colonialism. In contrast, Ferdinand Magellan, though defeated at Mactan, is still revered in European history as a visionary explorer whose journey reshaped the world map. His expedition paved the way for future Spanish colonization in Southeast Asia. The Battle of Mactan was more than a fight. It was a declaration. A moment when a local chieftain said no to foreign rule. Lapu-Lapu's stand echoes to this day, not just in monuments or textbooks, but in the very identity of the Filipino people.